Tired of jumping through hoops to buy Bitcoin? Frustrated with endless paperwork and invasive identity checks? Introducing Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club's loan program. No KYC required. Say goodbye to the hassle and hello to freedom. Borrow up to $250,000 at as little as 7% interest. Join our community and take control of your financial future. Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, where privacy meets opportunity. Connect with like-minded individuals and grow together. Visit us today and unlock your $250,000 Bitcoin loan. Your journey to financial freedom starts here.
And we are live. Good morning, everybody. It's your favorite truck driver in the whole wide world, it's Bitcoin Ben, here for the daily. What the hell is going on? And I am doing it walking around because I need exercise, guys. It isn't just about losing weight. It's about getting fit. So today we're all going to get going with some jumping jacks. I'm absolutely full of shit. We are not doing jumping jacks. Today, what we are going to talk about is actually what is going on with the federal government. This is a huge deal, guys. What I want you to realize is Trump has now set it up where Japan, Korea, and England, or the European Union area, they are going to require them to roll their Treasury profits into America. Now, this is key, guys. This is absolutely key. The old system was roll your profits into more treasuries. Trump is getting rid of the Federal Reserve. If we didn't know it already, we know it now. And this show is so important that you grasp what's really going on. We're in a new system, a completely new system. The old system is officially dead. It is dead. Now, this week, when all of the European people were at the White House, they did not only talk about Ukraine. That was the window dressing of what was really going on. Everyone thinks, oh, Ukraine is such a big topic. It's everything going on. No. The reason he had all of those leaders there was to let them know there's a new system, guys. You join it or you don't. And if you don't join it, you're out. That's it. Trump basically gave them an ultimatum. You're either with us or you can kiss our ass. And they need us, guys. They need us so their system doesn't collapse. And what I want you guys getting ready for is the amount of money that they are going to print, but also recycle. That's the key. People have to realize a lot of these treasuries, which is our debt, whatever we're at, 188 trillion gazillion dollars that we owe everyone. That is represented in the treasuries. So they hold the treasuries, which means we owe them money. They sell a treasury, and that is, or if they exchange the treasuries and say, all right, we want to sell our treasuries or it expires, that is them trading in the treasury and getting US dollars. Well, this is how Trump, because I have explained in the past. There's a completely different, there are two U.S. currencies, right? There is U.S. domestic, right? That's all of the money. Yeah, here, hang on a second. All of the money in the U.S., right? Then we have foreign. Hang on one second. Let me erase this. All right. Then we have, oh, I'm learning the screen, guys. All right. Then we have outside, which is they are treasuries held outside of the U.S. This is China. This is Europe. This is everyone, everywhere around the world. All right. Now, these are separate. Right? These here, what Trump is setting up for is as the Treasury interest rate, or as the Federal Reserve interest rate drops, these are going to flood in to here. All right. And as they do, because this here, this is inflation. All of this inflation will hit the U.S. market. All right. Well, what Trump has set up, that if they want to sell their treasury bonds to us again, they have to recycle that. We're not going to give them dollars unless they promise to roll those profits into U.S. companies, warehouses, factories. That's what he's required them to do. All right. The head of the Treasury said this yesterday on a show. In fact, he actually called it he explained it like this. They're going to use all of the Treasury bonds Europe, Japan, and Korea hold. He actually called it the New American Wealth Fund. Now, mind you, that's their money. But Trump is like, yeah, you know what? Too bad. If you actually want to cash in all of your treasury bonds, but we are not going to give you cash. Now, mind you, this is going to hurt the European Union, because if you look at the euro interest rate, it's crazy. You look at Japan, all of their interest rates are absolutely crazy. That's their actual bond rate. Well, they're in deep shit, as are we. But who is Trump? America first. So he's basically saying, hey, sorry, but fuck you guys. I have to worry about America. And that's what he has set up is, look, we will let you sell the treasury bonds, but you have to roll those profits into American infrastructure projects. So he basically, let's look at it like this. All right, after World War II, we actually set up something that was referred to as the Marshall Plan. The Marshall Plan was to completely rebuild Europe. Hey, we'll lend you a bunch of money. You guys head out, warehouses and machinery and offices and houses. You guys just go and you completely rebuild your whole Europe. Well, this is the American plan. So they're basically taking it and they're reversing it. All right, we gave you guys all this money years ago. Without us, France, like someone laughingly said yesterday, without us, you guys would be speaking German. So fuck you guys. This is the plan. We are going to reclaim all of that wealth. Now, mind you, remember what I said. This wealth is inflation. That is printed currency. That's US dollars. And if Trump actually would have just let them cash in all of their Treasury bonds, hyperinflation here in America, because this is what happened in Weimar Republic. This is exactly what happened in Weimar Republic. Was there were a bunch of places that had a lot of German bonds, and they rushed in, and hyperinflation. Any asset just went sky high because there were so many, let's see, what were they called? I think they were called Deutschmarks, right? There were so many flooding in, and it just, everything skyrocketed. Well, that's what would happen, because you have to understand, guys, there are trillions of dollars out there in the world outside of America. Trillions. And this plan that he set up is absolutely no problem. We will let you cash in your Treasury bonds. Of course, we're not going to default, but we're going to tell you what you can put that money into. This is when shit gets real, folks. I'm telling you right now, the next 3 years here in America are going to be unbelievable growth. I mean, like we haven't seen. This is going to make the 1950s look like a weekend at fucking Bernie's. Nothing. We're going to have so much growth in industry, in AI, robotics. Now, at the same time, we have all of this currency flowing in. They're selling Treasury bonds because, number one, they're selling them back because these are all short-term, 1 year, 2 year, whatever, 3 year bonds. So these are not long duration bonds. So they are going to mature, and all that money is going to hit America because Trump has now said, guys, this is why Trump on several occasions has actually said, yeah, we're going to build new airports. We're going to build new highways. We're going to have a train running from New York to California. We're going to do all this stuff because this is Roosevelt's dream. what was it called? Roosevelt, was it the Great New Deal or something like that? Uh, yeah, it. You guys know what the hell I'm talking about. We are going to have work programs, and it's already going out. If you look on X, everyone on welfare is pissed right now because they got a letter. Hey, you can continue to get welfare. You just have to volunteer 20 hours a week at a local community project. Huh?
First New Deal.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. The first, yep, the first New Deal. Now, that was an absolute fucking lie that led us into the federal government absorbing more profit of the GDP. There's a whole fucking line that I could explain behind that. This is the American New Deal. This is for Americans. Trump doesn't give a flying shit what happens with England. Trump don't give a flying shit what happens with Japan. Hey guys, sorry for you, but I'm America first, which means Americans first. Now, all of this inflation, because remember, there's a currency inside the U.S., but the majority of the U.S. currency representation is outside. Because since 1973, actually earlier, but I'll use 1973 as a wall, right? Since 1973, we have destroyed our industries. We all remember Chrysler and Ford and General Motors and all this other shit. They were leaving and they were going to Mexico. And all of this manufacturing left because we had switched our product. We went from cars, refrigerators, AC units, what the fuck ever. And what did we actually produce now? US dollars. That was it. We offshored all of our real production and replaced it with the 1980s New York Wall Street and central banking system completely. Because now we don't have to worry about gold. We don't need no gold. Hell no. What we'll do is we'll actually peg it with oil and require everyone who wants oil, they have to use the US dollar. That's artificial demand for the dollar using our military. Now, that's going away because Russia, China, they're all buying oil using rubles and using other currencies. In fact, Russia is about to go balls fucking deep in purchasing oil using the Bitcoin, right? And other cryptocurrencies, including stable coins. This is such a shift in what we used to have. The old system is dead. It's absolutely dead. Now, let me bring this right back over to the Bitcoin. While all of this money is flowing in, right? What they have officially said is U.S. Treasury bond system is dead. That's what they have basically said. Is I know you guys held all of your values in our treasury bonds. well, now our treasury bonds aren't worth a shit because as this all happens, as all of this happens, the value of the dollar is going to collapse. It is going to collapse like we've never seen. Now, it isn't going to be all of a sudden. It's going to be over 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years. And the key is, guys, the key is assets. You have to get into assets, specifically the Bitcoin. Now, why? Because you have to think about something, right? We're at a point never seen before in America where the whole world holds our treasury bonds. We just announced that we no longer want to be the global reserve currency. That's what just happened. Because now no one is going to want our treasury bonds except to use the stable coins. This is the whole transition. We, as America, because we've totally screwed ourselves, well, we didn't screw ourselves. The government and the Federal Reserve actually screwed us. This is rolling back. We don't want to be the global reserve currency. What we want to be is the most used currency. That's the transition. See, in the old days prior to, let's say this week, everyone looked at our treasury bonds as holding their value. As well, we don't want to hold dollars because that's inflation and all this other shit. Well, the treasury bonds are now not worth a shit because we just explained to the whole world, hey, yeah, if you buy our bonds, we're basically going to just manipulate the shit out of you and make you do whatever the hell we want. So that eliminates. Now, watch and see. A lot of the governments are going to purchase treasury bonds for stable coins. That's the transition. So there will be a lot of countries, because this is going to naturally happen. Because none of the governments have to agree with it. This is all digital. This is a wallet on your phone. See, what's going to happen is so many corporations, so many banks, because remember, Walmart can now purchase treasuries and issue Wally coin. And it's a stable coin. Walmart, Walgreens, Amazon. You know how much money Amazon can save if they're using their internal representation of value? A shit ton. This is the future, guys. Everything's going digital, but it's going digital in the right way because we're replacing the global Federal Reserve system with a decentralized digital system that will have the most used currency as the US dollar. Now, what does that do with Bitcoin? Think about it, guys. It's now official. US Treasury bonds are no longer the safe play. This is trillions, hundreds of trillions of dollars that is now looking for the safest assets. What will hold my value? What will hold my purchasing price? Well, it ain't Treasury bonds no more. Because number one, they're dropping the rate. Number two, they're putting on, I'll say it, capital controls for the capital for the redeemed Treasury bonds. That's a red flag to every other country. Why do you think China's been selling the shit out of our Treasury bonds for the last year and a half? And what are they rolling it into? They're rolling it into gold. All right? Now, for those of you watching the show who love you some gold, you guys are not going to be left out. Because initially, this is going to be a half and half system. Half of the world is going to run on gold. And half of the world will run on Bitcoin. But all of the world will hold both. This is where we're at, guys. The next 2 or 3 or 4 years is going to decide, hey, Peter Schiff, we're about to fucking find out which is going to win. Is it going to be gold or is it going to be Bitcoin? Because one of them will win. Now, I am not saying gold will drop to zero. No, it will always have usage value. But as a reserve for actual like labor representation value, no, because it can't compete. And I'll tell you why. Because no one to this day knows how much gold we have. No one knows exactly how much China has. How can you negotiate or look at your investment partners if you don't know if they're capitalized? All right, let's imagine Trump's on one side, Xi's on this side, and they say, all right, let's work out a trade deal. Okay. We want this and this and this, and here's the tariffs. And all right, what is backing up your currency? Gold. Do you have it? Yes, we do. Prove it. Nope. What? No, we will not prove how much gold we have. We will not prove that we have the asset. This is the whole problem with gold. Hang on 1 second. Yes, thank you, sir. All right, actually, hop up here. Could you actually mic him up?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Fuck it, let's wing it, brother.
Or I can speak into that if you want.
No. Yeah.
Just give me one of these.
Yeah.
I'll be okay with this.
Yep. All right. So, like I was saying, guys, is gold will be around forever. Hell, it's been around forever anyway.
Check.
All right. Come on up, Jay.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning. All right. Let's go widescreen. There we go. Morning, brother. How are you? You too. All right, guys. Hang on a second. You move this way.
Okay.
There we go. We are centered. All right. You've heard what I have said so far. With this requirement for all of the offshore Treasury bonds, as they redeem those Treasury bonds, Trump now has it where they have to take the proceeds of that and invest it in American infrastructure or warehouses or something, but it has to be in America. This is such a change. What do you see, and why is this a good thing?
Okay. So the first thing is that we are seeing very clear direction of America first in all policy, and it is being implemented. Yesterday, I spent the whole day with the Florida Small Business Development Council, which I was appointed by the Senate to be on that board. And literally the director of the program came and said, we have clear mandate. We're not going to fund any programs through the SBA, which is a Small Business Administration, that are not 100% American owned.
Love it.
Not 50%, not 51%, not even 67%. If they're not 100% owned, and there was some angst around it because they said, oh, well, we know we wouldn't have the Ford cars being made if that was, things like that. But the mandate right now is that the government will not fund any programs that are not 100% American owned. Okay. So when I saw that, it became clear to me that this is not just President Trump talking on TV about America first. This is starting to trickle down into the states, in the policies, and now into actual implementation. We were talking about the 2026 budget for the state of Florida, and SBA is not going to fund any company that's not 100% American. So directionally, 100%. Number two, when President Trump was asked, hey, how come you're going to give money to Ukraine? And he said, I'm not. I'm going to give money to American companies that will build weapons that they'll buy from me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it.
So
yeah,
this is, and now let's take the step that you're saying. You're saying, hey, if America is going to monetarily support any organization, whether it be a domestic organization, which is 100% owned, whether it's a state level, federal level, and now international level, the benefit of that support of the American taxpayer must result in the benefit of the American taxpayer. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
That is the policy. And if that policy is going to be implemented, it's going to be implemented at all levels, international levels. So if any country is getting the benefit of the U.S. Treasury, then that benefit needs to trickle back or flow back in whole or in part to the American taxpayer.
Yep.
And that is what you're talking about at this point. These are all different implementations of exactly the same idea, which is America first. It means something very specific financially. It means something very specific monetarily. And you're absolutely right. It's going to create this massive new wealth explosion. And I believe with all my heart, Bitcoin is going to be a core part of that explosion. Now, whether or not, this will be a horse race between gold becoming a part of, look, they're going to be stable coins, right? There's going to be a DeFi market, which is going to start to converge with the TradFi market. But the DeFi market is going to have all kinds of stable coins. There'll be stable coins which are made on just gold, just on US treasuries, a combination thereof. And there'll be stable coins that'll say, let me get 2 bushels of corn, 3 chickens, a cat, a dog, and a pig, and that's my stable coin, right? Yep. So whatever it is going to be backed by is going to become the asset that is going to be stored in the treasury. Now, Bitcoin being an accretive asset, an asset that's actually growing at 30% or more ARR, it just behooves us to have an asset which is appreciating in value than depreciating in value.
Yeah, it's and this is what I think a lot of people aren't realizing. Right? If you're Walmart and you're like, all right, I want to issue a Wally coin. All right, let me buy half in treasuries The other half I'll buy in Bitcoin. What you have to realize is as the price of the Bitcoin goes up, they can print more of their coins.
Oh, so allow me to share some exciting news with you. I just got back from El Salvador with the technical team, and then we also talked to some of our partners for right now who are already creating stable coins in the US. And we worked through, and I can tell you this with a certain degree of confidence that our credit union, Private Key Capital, is going to issue stable coins going into the early part of next year. We are actually going to, all the Bitcoin deposits that you put in, we're going to create the wallet. You're going to be able to put your Bitcoin deposit into your savings account, just like you do with your fiat currency. And when we collect a sufficient amount of Bitcoin in our bank, let's say it's 100 Bitcoin, we will be able to use that as an underlying asset to buy 50% into T-bills that are going to give, or munis, which are going to give 2 to 3%. And 50% of that will become PKC USD, Private Key Capital USD. It's like a tether. Now that's liquidity that our bank will create, which you can now put into the DeFi market. And we can essentially, it's like Tether. We can finance projects. We can finance mining operations. We can give loans. Effectively, we are creating our own liquidity. So this is coming. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the bigger companies like Walmart, et cetera, do it. But we're not waiting for them.
No.
We are doing it right now.
Yes.
So this is something absolutely. And if we decide that we want to back our stable coin with a certain portion of gold or any other asset, we can do that. The other initiative that we will be also dovetailing onto this, printing our own money into essentially creating our own stable coin, because all of the financing and loans are going to be based on stable coins, right? Because we can't have a fluctuating value when we're giving a loan or servicing a loan. So the stable coins are effectively helping keep the dollars alive, because that's what's backing the T-bills, right? And what we will be also doing is understand that people talk about tokenization, and they think that, okay, I can just take a piece of land and break it into 50 parts and create 50 tokens and sell off those tokens, trade those tokens, whatever I want to do with those tokens, amplify those tokens, right? But it's not quite as simple. You see, a lot of the gold tokens, for example, they say, oh, there's a gold mine or a gold asset in Perth, right? But when I trade my token, nothing is changing in the real world. And therefore, it's a broken system. There's no accounting. There's no structure. There's no institutionality that says, oh, when I sold my token to Ben, that someone in Perth moved that little piece of gold from one cube to another. That's not happening. Now, the only way to do that is to actually work at it backwards, which is create a blockchain-based registry onto which all the physical assets are actually listed. What does that mean? When Ben says, hey, our house is going to be in our wallet, right? The reality is I can have that in my wallet and I can trade it, but unless that contract sitting in the municipal office down there with 13 different pages and title companies' signatures, if that doesn't change, it doesn't mean anything that I gave him that value. So that underlying asset needs to change. So what we will be looking at going forward, and Ben and I've been having 4 a.m. conversations around this. We will, and it might be too early to call it an exchange, but we're going to start to build a blockchain registry onto which assets, hard asset, land, buildings, businesses can, and in El Salvador, and we'll work with the government over there to start putting all of the businesses onto a registry. Now that's digital. That's on a blockchain. So now when we create the tokenization out of those assets, when the token changes, the smart contract automatically changes the actual registry in the backend. Now it's a real transaction because it is truly a real world asset, which is being tokenized, traded, sold, bought, create ETFs around. You can do all this stuff. So we're sort of getting ahead off the governments, off of this, but absolutely right. We will create our own stable coin, just like many other companies will, and benefit from it.
Oh yeah, initially I wasn't aware of all of the opportunities because I've never owned an actual bank before or a credit union or anything like that.
Most people haven't. Don't take it badly, man.
Sorry,
You're
guys.
just one of the like
This is my first
0.01% of the people on this planet, but that's okay.
Yeah. So initially, I, like a lot of people, I didn't realize all of the opportunities that having this structure really laid out. And now, through you and watching a lot of lectures from a lot of people, I'm learning why people who own, I don't know, like JP Morgan or exchanges or
Goldman and Sachs,
right,
Mr. Morgan,
right.
Mr. Chase, yes.
I see, especially using the Bitcoin at like the core of it, I see now, holy crap, the amount of wealth that is in that system that can actually be tapped into if you know how to line everything up. And that's what you guys are actually doing in El Salvador. You guys are like, all right, we need to tie into here, we need to tie into here, we need to partner with this company, we need to partner with that. And we can finally have a global system, and at the core of it will actually be a 100% decentralized asset that is also a ledger of the asset, which allows reliable ownership claim on assets that you can leverage easier because now you have absolute proof of the asset.
Great point. So you brought up two really big things here. One is the decentralized nature of the ledger, and the other is the unleashing of the power of what is sitting in this ledger, right? So we have been talking about hodling Bitcoin, but when you start to put Bitcoin into our credit union, what you're going to find is that all of these Bitcoin are going to actually sit in individual wallets as opposed to one Treasury wallet. So this is a architecture which has never been done before. Ben and I have been working on this because we realized and we looked at the history of banks, right? If you looked at Alpha Bank in Russia, when the US imposed sanctions, all of the bank got frozen, all of the SWIFT rails got frozen. Even though all the money was sitting there, you couldn't move it. It was gone. The bank did something wrong, but all the depositors were let down because of that. Their money was tied with the bank's money. So the first key item we realized is a distributed treasury, which means your money should always be available to you, irrespective of what happens to the bank. Well, what a crazy concept, which is not different from...
Wait. Actually protect the people who have accounts in the bank.
Correct.
Well, that's odd.
Oh, what a crazy concept, right? Because I'll tell you what, I personally lost $300,000 when Lehman Brothers went out of business. Lehman Brothers went out of business. I had an account there. It was gone. It was not their money. I custodied my money with them, but I lost it. That was a 150-year-old company. We look at other companies in other countries where the government takes over the bank. Suddenly people who have deposits have lost it. Well, that's not going to happen with us because we're creating a distributed treasury. When you deposit your Bitcoin in our credit union, it's a separate wallet which has two locks. One of the locks is yours as a customer. One of the master keys is ours. We're the only two people holding it. But our master key will be tied to a dead man switch, which means if anything happens to the bank, and by the way, the Bitcoin stays on chain. We just release that latch and all of the wallets open up from our side, and you can move your Bitcoin on chain anywhere you want. So no matter what happens to the country, hopefully it'll grow great and Bukele will do great. We love President Bukele. But if anything should happen, the junta takes over, the cartel comes over, whatever, your capital asset will never be at risk because it is on chain. And unless you break through that 900 exahashes of power, you aren't getting to that Bitcoin. It's yours. You hold the key, your Bitcoin. So our core theme of our wallet is your key, your Bitcoin.
Yep.
So that's the first part of it, that it's a distributed ledger. The second thing that Ben is talking about is you will never, ever sell your Bitcoin because we are going to give you different kinds of products, different kinds of yields, different kinds of opportunities of synthetics, of derivative products that are going to generate money by unleashing the power of your Bitcoin, which is sitting there. So the Bitcoin is not just sitting there passively like gold does in a box. It's actually working for you. And as Ben is saying, there's like the world is opening up to all of these different kind of DeFi products, yield products, derivative products.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you. But
Okay.
this,
Not at all.
we've seen this. This is what Michael Saylor is actually doing. He's introducing completely new products that no one's ever foreseen. And they're like, wait, how in the hell can he offer that rate? Because of Bitcoin.
You know what the difference is with Sailor and us? Why we're better? He holds the keys.
Exactly.
In our case,
yes,
our customers hold the keys.
Yeah.
It's better than Sailor's.
Yeah, it's actually giving them the opportunity.
Yes.
But they retain the freedom.
Understand. Sailor is buying the Bitcoin as the underlying asset, creating products and selling the products. The people buying MSTR and MSRC or whatever the hell are the Misty, they don't hold Bitcoin.
No.
They hold a synthetic which sits on top of Bitcoin. He's the only one with his hand on the wallet.
Yep.
You see, we are giving you, our members of the credit union, your own keys. When you get that account, your checking account, your savings account, you also get the keys to your own wallet.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big difference. No one else in the world is doing it right now.
Yeah, because we are a smaller team and we can move quickly because we have the relationships, we know all the people, we have a lot of friends, and we can go, all right, how do we build this? Then you fly to El Salvador, you work it out on a whiteboard.
You're going to be there soon.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And what I really want everyone to really just wrap your heads around, guys, what we're explaining is the new system. We are on the forefront of creating the new systems. We aren't JP Morgan. It would take them 3 years to even think about implementing something like this because you got to go through this, got to check with blah, blah, blah. No, we can actually move quick and safely. And since we use the Bitcoin, it's all out in the open.
Yep.
It's, hey, check the blockchain.
That's it.
And it's so important that people realize, guys, the old world that has been killing us, draining us of our labor value is dead. They're just rolling it down the hill, getting ready to kick it into the grave. And, all right, some of you may have heard Trump joked, maybe I'll appoint Janet Yellen as the next federal head of the Federal Reserve. He said it as a joke because what he actually knows is that they're done. They're absolute. There's no need for the Federal Reserve anymore. Why would the U.S. go to the Federal Reserve, have them charge them interest when they could sell the Treasury bonds right out of the Treasury?
I mean, exactly. There's no. I mean, firstly, that mushroom head is a disaster for the country.
Yeah.
It has been a disaster for the country. I mean, I don't even understand why people of that level of competence even get to where they do. But that's a personal matter. That being said, I completely agree. There's the Treasury is in fact the U.S. Treasury, which is essentially running all the operations. Why outsource this one part of the operation that says, oh, you run the printing presses for us and we'll just pay you for it? Well, just bring those printing presses into the Treasury and roll it in. I mean, just, call it a day, right? At some point, when that appendage that you're holding on to becomes detrimental to the rest of the body, you got to cut that appendage off.
Yep.
That's how I see the Federal Reserve right now. Neither federal nor reserve, but it needs to go.
Absolutely, because it no longer has product market fit or market product fit.
That's a very polite way to say it.
Well,
no product market.
yeah.
Another way to say it is they've been stealing money hand over fist, for decades and for centuries.
Yeah.
So let's call it for what it is, and it's certainly not good for the American people.
Yep.
For the citizens of this democratic, of this republic, and it's been a private company that has controlled the money flow. They've controlled how fast or slow the economy will go. They've controlled funding both sides of the wars around the world, and essentially controlled in a very systematic manner the movement of wealth from the plebeians, from the average American, into the hands of the elite. And that is really what the outcome of that Federal Reserve has been. I don't see very many, on the positive side, on the credit side, there aren't that many check marks.
No, and all we hear a lot, well, the Federal Reserve should be independent. Independent. They were created as an independent corporation. And what they're basically saying is we're removing the power from the people. We're going to remove the money from the people and put it into a new corporation.
Right.
And the corporation will control your money.
Privately owned.
Right, which is completely stupid. There's a reason we have a Treasury Department.
Correct.
It's where we hold the treasure. All right. Trump is bringing us all the way back to when Americans ran the money. And what with the Genius Act, what that does is we're going to have a wave of private banking. Yep. And when I say private banking, I mean banking very generally. Walmart will have its own coin. Walgreens, Amazon, everyone will have their own internal representation of the dollar. Well, what do they do when they have to pay bills? Are they sending them Walmart coin? No. They'll probably use like Tether or something. Or if Tether was smart, well, actually, we should do this. Fuck Tether.
Tether's in El Salvador too. That's where the headquarters is.
Yeah, I didn't mean fuck you guys. I love you guys. It's yeah.
You're funny. You're funny.
It's we could offer a wrapped stable coin.
Sure, we can do
to Walgreens or Walmart or Joe Schmo's Pizza or something like that. Now, I don't know, because guys, when you're creating the system, there's not an example. So you're like, okay, will this work? Will this work? Let's see how this works.
Well, I mean, that is true of, Ben, of almost any industry, that in the beginning, there are a lot of different players who enter a new market. And then over time, that consolidation starts to happen, and you see some of the early winners. It doesn't mean there'll be only one winner, but there'll be 3 or 4 main horses, right? We saw that happen in the tech sector. We saw it when the infrastructure companies came. There were like 30 companies that made IP routers, and then Cisco became the lead dog, and everybody failed. When the social media world came to being, there were hundreds of social media sites. We talked about the fat tail and all of that good stuff, right? And then Facebook took over, and pretty much everything else became, negligible. When we went to search engines, there were hundreds of search engines when initially, and then Google took over and whatever. So this is the natural play of markets. When a new playing field emerges, you see a lot of entrants into that playing field. So we'll see a lot of different kinds of stable coins, a lot of different kinds of wrapped coins. And then at some point, that consolidation and convergence will start to happen probably in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yes.
But there are opportunities right now to be in this game, to create wealth, to print your own money, to get into the DeFi market. The DeFi space is literally just opening up right now, right?
Yeah,
I mean, this is new, guys. This is stuff that when we get into it as a club, as Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, our members are participating in creating the next digital revolution. We're going to benefit from it. We're collectively going to benefit from it.
In fact, this week, we actually sent out a lot of Bitcoin to the initial tranche of who explain exactly what happened with our mining pool, and there were some very happy people receiving some Bitcoin this week.
Well, our goal is to make sure that every member of the Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club is participating on one or more programs that we have for you, because these programs are designed to generate money for you, create wealth for you, not just get Bitcoin, but also use that Bitcoin for value. One of the programs is the mining pool. This is the first time till now we've been doing large deployments for individual users.
Millions of dollars of
deployments, right? But now we had a situation where we said, okay, we're going to go and create a pool. We created a pool of, I think, about 7 or 8 people. Each one put in 1 or 2 Bitcoin, 3 Bitcoin, whatever they could, right? And then we got the loans against that Bitcoin. We went and bought a whole bunch of mining rigs in New Hampshire. We paid for trucks and ships to get all that stuff over to Iowa. We got them deployed, and they started hashing last month. And this month, like within less than 30 days, essentially, of the investment coming in, all of those 8 people received checks, received Bitcoin, not checks. That's the whole world.
We don't send checks.
Received Bitcoin directly in their wallets. Jody sent them out, right? Within the same month. So we're living in that accelerated phase of investments where in the old world, you would make an investment and you'd get all these nods from a CEO. So, in 18 months, we should have the second round being ready at a higher valuation, and then we'll return you maybe a little part of it. No, folks, we are living in a digital world where transactions happen instantaneously. We are mining Bitcoin. You are dollar cost averaging every 10 minutes. Every time a block is solved. This is not like, I'll buy the dips, I'll hire a money market manager. No, you're buying every 10 minutes. That's what you're doing with the miners. And a lot of happy people because they are receiving Bitcoin directly in their wallet. Their Bitcoin is safe. It's custodied. We took loans against that. Those loans are now making more money than the value of the loan, right? Yep. And so you're getting net Bitcoin into your wallets. Your passive Bitcoin, quote unquote, is generating baby Bitcoins that are coming into your wallet. And the nice thing about it is there's a certain elegance to this mathematics, right? I know what the petahashes are going to be. We know what the power of energy is going to be. We know that we can make 1 Bitcoin for $53,000 because I pay the electric bills for $30,000 and my land lease is X and my operational cost for the engineer to change out the hash boards and the PDUs is Y, right? That's a fixed cost. So as Bitcoin goes up in value from 115 to 125 to 155 to 255, the cost of minting 1 Bitcoin still remains the same because my hard costs are fixed. at $53,000, right? So my margin keeps proportionally increasing as Bitcoin goes up. So your passive Bitcoin is making active baby Bitcoins, which are showing up in your wallet, and you can count on it every month like clockwork. That's going to come in unless the network difficulty goes through the roof or some catastrophic events happen, which we hope does not.
No.
Even then, our roofs that I've looked at in Iowa, they're rated at 130 miles an hour. So even I've done that.
No, you're good. You're good.
We're good.
It's we, and now you guys see why I hired him. All right. We are at a point with our clubs, with our credit union, capital company, with our hotels, with everything we are growing. As we get larger, and guys, the reason this all works and we're actually able to set you up with exactly what he explained is because we're a membership. We're a group. We are a
family.
We are a club. We are the club now. Thank you, George Carlin. And we are the new rich revolution. And that's what we're all living through. And what we are trying to do is realize and show everyone these clubs, each one of the clubs will have a branch of the bank or credit union or capital, however, because we're in a flux right now where we're shaping it so that it's right for the future. Because if we call it an actual bank, it limits us here. If we call it a credit union, it limits us here. If we call it a capital company, opens up a ton of windows.
100%.
So what him and I and our whole friggin' team, what we are actually doing, we're out there, and like he said earlier, him and I'll text at 1 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning, like, hey, I got this idea. What do you think about that? Oh, I like that idea. Let me. And it's because our whole goal is the average Joe, average Jane, the good, hardworking American people getting the knowledge and having a place that they can come to. And wait, so you guys are not just a club, you're a capital company, you own hotels, this is all you guys?
You know, the digital revolution is going to shape almost every aspect of business. It's going to shape the way we buy products. It's going to shape the way we sell stuff. It's going to be the way we buy houses and cars. It's going to reshape the way we transact with each other. It's going to literally, the financial ecosystem is changing. And therefore, what we are showing at the club, along with each one of you as members, is how does Bitcoin change the way we change our lives? We change the way we live, learn, work, play, earn, all of it, right? And so when Ben says we are looking at a wide spectrum of things, these will all be areas. Travel and hospitality will change with Bitcoin, right? Entertainment will change with Bitcoin. Education will change with Bitcoin. And obviously we're educating our folks, but at the same time, what is really important is that we're going into this phase of acceleration. And Ben and I talked about this the other day. I said, Ben, we are going to see, we're right at that steep point. We're going to start to see acceleration into this movement. And our movement is ahead of the curve. So I said, Ben, just go and open as many clubs as you can. Our target this year was 10, and I think we'll get to 10. Next year, we'll do another 10, and next year, another 10. So we'll have 30 clubs across the country in the next 2 years, right? I mean, we've already got 6 clubs opened, and he's got West Palm, Scottsdale. We're looking at a couple of Washington. We're looking at
don't forget Costa Rica.
So
Yep.
so we're looking at, so we well might hit our target for 10 this year. We still have a few more months to go, right? And so this is really important, folks. And you guys are the reason why we are here, because you are not only members of the club, you're participating in this digital revolution, this new rich revolution that's taking place. You are active participants in it. It is your minds, your capital. We got members coming and giving us ideas, because at the end, our club is about sovereignty. It's about freedom, right? And financial freedom is critical to having other freedoms, right? We know that. So as we create more programs, don't be surprised if we're going to be creating freedom and sovereignty of food sovereignty, right? We're going to talk about the beef products, and also I had some some board meetings with the beef folks. Really interesting stuff. I'll do a bigger show on that. But we are going to become landmen. We are going to become in the land business. There are many American farmers and ranchers who are going out of business, to sell off their land. We are actually going to finance and buy those into a portfolio, or at least lease those into multi-year, long-year leases and put cattle on it. But we will actually hold 10, 20, 30-year leases on probably over 2.1 million acres of land. That's our target, 21 million, right?
Oh, I'm fine with that.
So we are going to do that because land is important, food sovereignty. We're going to look at healthcare solutions. We have to. So we have started conversations with forward-looking people who believe that proactive healthcare is important, not just going to a hospital when you're sick, but what are the foods we eat? What are health is really important. And financial freedom is really important. These are two big pillars, and then other aspects of freedom will come into it. But our club is that harbinger, it's that lighthouse, which is spreading these solutions through the weapon of Bitcoin, right? It's allowing us to do things that in the old world we could not. So I think it's a really exciting time for all of us, Ben.
Absolutely.
You're leading the charge here. And I think the next 3 years, we are, just as a nation will, under President Trump, we as a club are really going to go into the accelerated phase of growth. And we will see some serious hyper growth. We will grow as a team, we'll grow as a community, and we should have no less than 15,000 members, within the next two and a half years.
Oh, yeah.
That's our target.
Yeah, it's guys and gals, I listen to this show as often as you can, because we literally are on the edge. We are creating the new global economy. That's what Trump has said loud and clear. Let the American people handle it.
That's right.
Let the market handle it. That's why if you look at the SEC, they have basically said, hey guys, run, let's see what works. We'll have a little sandbox over here. We'll have a little sandbox over there. We'll see what they are encouraging, just like in El Salvador, they are encouraging entrepreneurs like us to create, figure out what works, guys. Because we are leading, and it just excites the hell out of me. We are leading this whole revolution into the new freedom world.
Yes.
And I think that's how we should wrap this up is guys and gals, you should thank God that you are you right now, because you're witnessing Sorry about that, guys. Looks like we went. I myself, I think it's the federal government.
Oh, could be.
The remnants of what's left of the federal government. It was either that or a squirrel. I don't know which one, but we'll find out. Well, guys, we're actually going to wrap it up. Now, if you want more information on anything, on, like I said, like he said, getting into the mining programs and our other loan programs, we can actually get you guys a loan to buy Bitcoin, and then we can see if it works to roll that into mining. All right, give us a call, 941-413-6920. Everyone have a great Jay. Everyone have a great day. Love you, Jay.
Love you too, sir.
All right, brother.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Hey, no problem. Have a good day, guys.
Tired of jumping through hoops to buy Bitcoin? Frustrated with endless paperwork and invasive identity checks? Introducing Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club's loan program. No KYC required. Say goodbye to the hassle and hello to freedom. Borrow up to $250,000 at as little as 7% interest. Join our community and take control of your financial future. Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, where privacy meets opportunity. Connect with like-minded individuals and grow together. Visit us today and unlock your $250,000 Bitcoin loan. Your journey to financial freedom starts here.